Hi, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Today is a bit of a DIY video and I thought it would be really cool to try out some paneling in my living room. I've seen so many different inspirations online and I thought I really want that in my living room for one, because we've got a really plain backdrop which does nothing for me. And also I just thought it would be cool if I try it out myself. And the videos online look fairly simple, although everything does online. And I thought, let me just have a stab at it. I bought all the appropriate things that I need to get it done and we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. I'll show you some of the inspirations that I've used as well, and hopefully, like, I'm no expert so don't hold me to this, hopefully it turns out okay and it also inspires some of you who have not a clue to try it out yourself. So let's get started. So before we get started, I thought it'd be really handy for me to show you what I intend to use to do the moulding. So first things first, this electric nailer, I got it from Amazon and I've seen people use it online instead of glue. It looks fairly simple. I haven't used it before. I've kind of used a staple gun for my wardrobe, so hopefully this is fairly simple to use. But as a backup plan, I do have my CT1 glue. I've used this so many different times. It is really easy to use, and then I've also got the actual gun that you hold it in, whatever you want to call it. It is fairly simple. I just rather not use it here just in case I don't like the panel in it. It turns out really dodgy. I can take it off really easily with the nails. With this, not so much. Anyway, I've also got some paint because I'm going to have to paint my mouldings. I want them to be white, so some wood paint. I've got a mitre block, which apparently my dad said I don't actually need because apparently we've got a saw that cuts at different angles, but I don't know where that is. So for now, the mitre block. I've got a tape measurer. You need a tape measurer for any like carpentry work. I've got my mouldings, which look like this. They're about 2.4 meters long, but this is what it looks like. This is the one I've gone for. I got this from B&Q actually. They were about £7 each for one strip. They're actually quite spenny when you add them all up, but I'll let you know how much all of that cost me. You've got a saw. Preferably I would have gone for a smaller one with like smaller teeth. This one's kind of had its day and yeah, not the easiest to use, but I couldn't find, well, to be honest, I know where my other one is. I just can't be bothered to get it. It's at my parents' house. And then also a spirit level. Gonna need a spirit level. I might actually get out a smaller one as well, but this is the long one. And hopefully that shall do the trick, but we'll see. If there's anything to add, I'll let you know. Right, please excuse my really rough drawing. I know they're not proportionate, like this box looks smaller than these, whatever. This is effectively going to be my little sketch of what I want. So I've had a look on Pinterest and this is pretty much the design that I like. I'll show some like pictures of where I've taken inspiration from. But effectively, this is what I'm working with and this is what's going to go on my wall. Of course, I've got my door and stuff here, but I've ignored that. I've kind of just taken it back to the basic. So what I need for the purpose of this is the length and then the height, or the width and the height, whichever way around you want to look at it. And then I want to understand of that, like what will be my spaces. So I'll take that away and then I'll divide it by 3 and that should dictate what the widths, I suppose, if you want to call it that, of each of these boxes are, each of these rectangles. I'll show you as I go along. It makes sense in my head at the moment and hopefully it will do to you eventually as well. I've had a little look online and it looks like a lot of people use 10 centimeters as their spaces between each of the different areas. So I'm going to use that as an almost starting point guideline and I'll take it from there. But I mean, just trust the process. Stay with me, stay with me. Okay, you can kind of see, we'll figure it out. So I'm just going to move the sofa out of the way because I really need the space. Like I said before, I need to measure the width and the height of this room, or at least this wall, and then that will dictate how kind of like big or small those rectangles are. So that's what I'm about to do now. You probably won't see this on camera because I've only got one pair of hands and I've got no help today, so I'm gonna have to do it from the floor. So you won't actually see me measuring, but whatever. Right, I've got the measurements. It's 325 by 242. So I'm gonna put that down and then I'm gonna work it out and it will make sense, I promise. Okay, I'm back. I actually tested that off camera because it took a while. Eyeballing it actually took a while, but what I've gone with is 130 up top, so this will be 130, the length I suppose, or height, and then the remaining down here will be 82. So up top we've got 95 by 130, and down below we've got 95 by 82, and then we've got obviously those 10 centimeter dividers almost, and that should dictate the whole wall. So yeah, got there in theory. Now we have to see if I can actually apply this in practice. Let's go. Okay, so next up is the actual paneling, and I actually did all of that offline, off camera, so I'm really sorry I didn't actually showcase any of it, but I'll show you the ones that I bought from B&Q. So I bought, oh god, I probably bought about 10 of them. I'll check the receipt and I'll let you know. Anyway, so I've done all of them and they look like this. I've painted it as well. So I've cut them at an angle and I've painted them all. Unfortunately, B&Q don't actually cut things at an angle, which was really annoying. I was half hoping they would do it for me. But anyway, so I've got all of them. In fact, let me just show you all of them because it looks like this. Actually, there's a few more that I haven't included, but whatever. This is what it looks like. But for the purpose of this video and showing you guys, I've got one left, which is bare. So this is essentially kind of what it looks like when you buy it. Although I've cut this one. They come in 2.4 meter strip, and then you cut it down to size depending on like the size and width and whatever of your paneling, your molding. So I've cut this one down to size, and I thought I'd just saw them with my saw and my mitre block to kind of show you what I've done with all the others, and it took a bloody long time as well. Like, it takes so long. I think I should have taken my dad up on using that tool where you kind of like press it down. I think it's called a mitre tool. I don't know the actual technical term, but it does it, and it does it really smoothly, and yeah, it would have had a better finish. But here we are. I've done them all anyway, so I'll show you. I'll cut this one down at an angle. It all has to be done like inwards. I'll show you what I mean in a sec, and I'll also paint it so you can kind of see how I did it. Okay, so I'm back at the desk. This is actually going to be really hard to show because I just don't have the appropriate angled tripod-y thing, but I'll do what I can with what I can. So I'm using a mitre block, like I said. This one's just from Wix, really basic. It probably costs about £5. The handy thing about this, by the way, is it's got this little step on one side, so you kind of just hook it onto the desk and it stays in situ. And then this is the moulding that I was just talking about. This is the thick side and this is the narrow side, and effectively all I did was penciled in a little like 45-degree kind of, like, this is just me eyeballing it, obviously I don't know if it's 45, but thereabouts, like that. So you've got a little triangle, and then I just penciled it in. So I'll shade it in a bit darker and then I'll show you on camera so you know exactly what I'm doing. And honestly, like, although I know the theory and I said you need to cut from like the wider side to the smaller side, I know all of that, but for some reason when you're dealing with like what feels like 50 odd panels to cut, sometimes I just lose my bearings a little bit, and it really helps having this penciled in so my brain just doesn't have to think that much in the process. So I don't know if you can see this, but but can you see, it's really faint. I need a pen. Oh, here's one. This will do. Right, we go again. Right, that looks a little bit clearer if you can see. So you've got the right, sorry, not the right angle, the 45-degree angle going inwards, and that's the bit that I effectively need to chop off on both ends for every single piece. So, I mean, I'm just reiterating that that's what took so long. But I will see if I can show you and angle this camera while I'm cutting it. But before I do, I'll show you kind of like how, using one hand. Right, flipped around now. So this is the mitre block at the end of the desk, so it just holds in place. This is actually like so much easier to do when you have an extra pair of hands, but effectively I just line them up. So you see this like triangular thing that I've cut, I've drawn in, I line it up with whichever angle makes sense. Now I know it's 45 degrees, and these actually have the degrees on, so it says, like, you can't see, but it says like 45 there, it says 45 here, and of course mine will be lined up with this, so you can like do it on any side. I usually do it from this side, so I know that I need to cut at that angle, so I'm gonna get the saw out. Sorry guys, I don't know how to do it with the camera holding at the same time, but effectively the saw goes in there and you saw, and that little bit, that triangular bit drops off. I will show you what I mean. I'll show you what the result looks like. Like I said earlier, if you have something like a saw with smaller teeth on, use that, because this wasn't the easiest to use, and I don't think it gives like the cleanest finish either, and it's more work in the process because you kind of have to like sand down those edges, and I will still need to do that. So if you have a smaller one and you've got access to it, use a smaller one. If not, I mean, it still works, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, so I'm back at the desk. You can barely see me, sorry. I've got the wood that I need to paint. I've got my paintbrush that has really been through it, and some undercoat. I'm going to start off with some undercoat. I'll probably do like 2 coats of undercoat, and then I'll do the top coat, and sometimes I need to touch up on the top coat just to make sure like everything is covered and it looks really glossy, because I've got gloss paint, and I think that would look really cool in white against the white. So let's go. This is almost like more so for the purpose of you guys. I have done this literally like 50 times already in this process, because I obviously had to cut all of these down and then like do them one by one. It gets really boring after a while actually, but you've just got to do it. You've got to get it done. So this is effectively what I've done 100 times over. Really boring, but it is what it is. So yeah, this is, I literally just doused it with paint. I mean, you know how to paint. You guys know how to paint. So I do the undercoat and I let it sit to dry for like a couple of hours or an hour, whatever, and then I'll do the others. I did most of them actually beforehand. I don't like to touch it, you know. I usually wear gloves when I paint. I'm not big, as much as I love like doing these things, I'm not big on getting my hands dirty. I really cannot stand it. It makes me like icky almost. So yeah, you catch my drift. So I'll do this a couple of times. I mean, you can see it's already turning white. So I'll do this a couple of times and then I'll do the top coat. I'll see what it's looking like. Like, does it look good? Can I work with it? Is it ready to go on the walls? Let me show you one that's already done. So this one's already done and it's had like, I don't know, 1,000 coats on. No, it's had like 2 of the undercoat and 1 top coat, and that's, so you can see this one is kind of like faded. The colour hasn't set in properly because obviously it's only got the undercoat on, but 2 undercoats and top coat, maybe another one, another top coat, and it should end up looking like this. Voila. So once you have all of these bad boys, in total 24, I just counted it because there's 6 rectangles, 6 times 4, because it's got 4 sides, there's 24, there we go. So it wasn't 50, it was 24, but it definitely felt like 50. So we've got them all ready to go. I actually took 4 of them and stuck it on the wall using blue tack, because I didn't want to use glue just yet. I didn't want to use a nail gun, do anything permanent effectively, but I did want to see what it would look like. So I have stuck a few on the wall. In fact, I've stuck 1 rectangle on the wall. I'll like put a picture up so you can see what I'm talking about. I just wanted to see, do the angles line up properly? Have I done it correctly? Will it look right? Blah blah blah. It does, and so I feel confident enough to get started. I think my biggest like worry, I suppose, in doing it on my own is making sure that it's dead straight, using the spirit level of course, but it took me a hot minute to kind of get it straight with the blue tack, and I'm just wondering like how I'm going to tackle this one on its own, but I'll figure it out, I'm sure I always do. So bear with me and let's see how it goes. Houston, we have a problem. So I thought I'd try out that staple gun, nail gun thing in my alcove unit cupboard, because I thought, okay, if anything goes wrong, it's hidden, I can fix it, I can sort it out, no one will see, right? Yeah, it doesn't work. And so let me show you what I mean, in fact, and why I think it's not working as well. So this is the cupboard, and this is like this little offcut that I was using from the moulding. So I've used the actual nail gun to fix it to the wall, and let me tell you, it's bloody sturdy, like it's not going anywhere. But look at this, like, I don't know if you can see it, but basically it curves over, so the nail only goes in so far and then it curves around. And I don't know if that means I need to use a smaller nail, or because this is a solid brick wall, it just won't go through the bricks itself, like it only works on wood. I really don't know how these things work, and I can't be bothered to like get back online and research it. I mean, if any of you know, let me know. I mean, by the time you let me know, it'll probably be too late anyway. But yeah, it's just not working, which is bloody annoying, because because it's so sturdy and it was so easy to do as well. It just looks ridiculous that there's no way I can work around this. And I don't want to have to like drill in screws either, so I think I'm just going to revert to the glue. But it's really strange because when I was watching the guys, like the actual builders, do the architraves and everything, they were obviously fixing the architraves to the like solid wall, brick wall, and it actually like worked and it was countersunk into the woodwork, and then they just quickly like filled over it, painted, whatever. And that's why I'm a little bit perplexed as to why this one is. And I don't know if I need to use smaller brad nails. I don't know if, yeah, maybe I might swap them out for some smaller ones. But yeah, effectively I don't really know the reason, and if I can't figure it out, I'm just gonna have to revert to glue, which is annoying, but it's what I know. So yeah, sorry guys. If you can figure it out, then good for you, and it just means that you can kind of skip the glue altogether. Right, annoyingly, because that didn't work, I'm going to have to revert to using the glue and the glue gun, or silicone gun, whatever you want to call it. Voila, there we go. So that's all in now, and I just think, I mean, you can see how fiddly it is, and I think that's so much easier with glue tack than having to do it with glue. So what I'll do, like I said before, is just take it off one by one when I come to glue it, and then I'll fix it in place. But honestly, for now, I think I'm going to do the others, the bottom ones, off camera, because it's bloody boring and you don't need to see me do it all. I'll keep you posted though. Like, once it's all done, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll get to gluing. Guys, look at that. What a bloody difference that makes. I'm really, really happy. It's not finished. It's just got the blue tack on, so if I get closer you can see where I've got the blue tack in, kind of, right? Just to hold it in place. And then now that they're where I need them to be, I'm gonna take them off one by one, like I said. But oh my gosh, like, the finishing product is gonna be something like this. There's a few more stages to go. Obviously I need to glue them on. This one's already glued on. Glue them on, caulk around like the edges, the joins, etc. Paint it again. There's those bits to tidy up, but I'm really happy about that. I was really scared. You see the socket here? I didn't think I'd make it, but just about. And yeah, the measurements work as well, so that's one of the reasons I decided to do it this way first, just to be absolutely sure before I go ahead and glue everything. But there we are. Now time to start gluing. welcome back. I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather today, so I'm going to keep it quite short and sweet to keep like the talking to a minimum. But I just want to catch you up from where I left off the other day and like what I did in between, and then I'll get started on what I need to do today, and then hopefully that will be the end of the paneling saga, so to speak. So anyway, what I've done so far, if I bring the camera down here, I might actually flip it in the end, but I started caulking. I don't know if you can see that, but along the lines I've started caulking. I'm going to switch it around, bear with me. So I've started caulking where the paneling meets the wall, because so effectively this is what it looks like when it's caulked. So you can see like the gap between the wall and the panel, which I really didn't like. I was trying to avoid actually having to caulk, which may sound silly in hindsight, but at the time I just thought, let me paint everything as it is, like freestanding, and then put it on the wall so that I don't have to tape along all the sides. Because I find that whenever I do, like here for instance, whenever I tape and I take it off, it lifts off the paint, and I was avoiding having to paint the wall and the panels, like the wood itself, but it turns out I'm gonna have to, because you can see like where the caulk is, if that makes sense. So this is the one, so I've done all of these already, and this is the one I'm going to focus on today. It doesn't take very long, it's more so trying to smooth it out and get it like super neat, and then I'm going to paint both like the wall and the wood so that it's finished off quite neatly, and then that should be the end of it really. I'm going to also sand down, like, because I put in some filler on the edges, and I'm going to caulk over it because I think like filler cracks, so to avoid that I'm going to caulk around it. But yeah, you can see where the gaps are, right, versus this, which is super flush. So that's the goal effectively, and that's what I'm going to focus on today. I don't know how much I'm going to film, we'll have to see, but you get the gist, you get what I'm going for. Well, we have a little bit of a problem. I'm actually holding the phone down intentionally because of what I'm about to show you, and effectively I got a little bit too excited. I don't know why, because it's like more work, more headache, so very typical of me. Anyway, I decided to panel the second wall, another wall in the living room, and I absolutely hate it. I mean, despite the obvious, it looks like shit, but that's just because I've just finished caulking it and it's very raw and I sanded it down, so like ignore that aesthetic, if that makes sense. But the reason I don't like it is actually because the panel, it's a shorter wall, like the width of the wall, would you call it the width or the length? Whatever. From left to right, it's like narrower than this wall that I did. And so the panels, because I wanted 3 panels, are naturally like narrower as well. They're smaller in width than these ones. These ones make the room look grand. It just looks big, it's spacious, it does the job right. This one makes it look awful. I can't explain it. I really don't like it, right? But stupid me, so whenever I panel, like when I panelled this wall as well, I use blue tack first. So I use blue tack, I go in with the blue tack, make sure everything lines up, and then I panel. Now I was like very much in a rush. I was like, yeah, I wanted to get it done in one night. So ordinarily, if I blue tack it, I'll go back the next day, I'll look at it, decide if I like it, if anything needs changing, and then I'll glue it as I did over here. However, because I wanted to do it so quickly, I went in with the glue that same night, which means I didn't look at it with fresh eyes. I didn't look at it like the day after to understand like, do I actually like the paneling or not? I think I just assumed because I liked this one so much, I'd like this one. Turns out it's completely the opposite, different vibe altogether. And then I brought in some second opinions, basically. My family came round, so my mum, my dad, my sister, my nephew, and I was asking them individually, like, what do they think? So I think everyone was in agreement that it makes the room look smaller. Would you believe? It's so weird. Like this one just made it look grand, it gave it a little feature. This one, not so much. So anyway, everyone agrees it made the room look smaller, which was annoying because I obviously don't want the room to look smaller. Cozy, yeah, but not smaller. So I definitely think it makes it look cozier, don't get me wrong, but I just, yeah, anyway, and they all agree that they're just quite narrow. It's only 10 centimeters, would you believe? Like each of the panels are 10 centimeters left, but I don't know if it's because of the door there as well. So it's a bigger wall in general. So the panels, and then, you know, and I'm actually contemplating having to put one anyway. So they all were in agreement in that sense. And then I hated it so much. I was like, look, should I just take it down? And they were kind of like, oh, you know, I'm in an R-ring, oh, I'm not sure. And it was really bugging me. I thought, what a waste of my bloody time, because I've obviously spent time doing it, and then I'm gonna have to take time taking it down. Not only taking it down, once you take it down, I've glued it to the wall, right? So I'm gonna have to like make good of all the areas I've taken the panels down, if that makes sense, which is bloody annoying. And so I asked my nephew. It's always good, you know, to ask kids what they think, because they give it to you in such like basic terms almost. They kind of tell you what you should do without all the extra faff. I just feel like we create more noise to problems and issues than the kids do. So anyway, I asked my nephew and he said, just leave it. But his rationale, well, I don't know if it was like intentional or not, but he said you do the thing that's quickest, and it's quicker to leave it than to take it down and make good of the wall after, which I thought was really sound advice coming from a kid. So yeah, here we have it. So the intention beforehand, before I decided to panel, I was going to use this as a bit of a picture wall, which would have worked quite well actually. It would have, I think my sister said, like, regardless if you did this or the pictures, it would have made the wall look smaller. So it is kind of what it is. So instead what I'm going to do is maybe buy 3 pictures, 1, 2, 3, and put them in each of the panels, and I'll leave this one bare. We'll do it that way around. So this will still be the picture wall. That door's always open. I've got it closed at the moment so you can see the panels, but that door's always open. So I don't really know about having a picture there, because the door naturally, who knows, I'll figure it out. And then since I'm leaving, I still don't like it, don't get me wrong, but I think if I do take it down, I'll take it down in future. Like I actually can't be arsed. It's so tiring. And so the thought of having to take it down and potentially have to skim the wall, I don't know what I'm gonna do, fill it. I can't be arsed right now, so it's staying. And then that section there just looks a bit silly, so I might have to put a little panel in there just so everything looks quite cohesive. But yeah, bit annoying, huh? So I'm done with paneling now. Like, I feel like it just ruins the vibe, and yeah, I'm just gonna think twice in future. So yeah, and if I could give advice to anyone else, it would be test it out first with blue tack or whatever you have, and then sleep on it at least. Look at it in the morning with fresh eyes, the sun come out, and then make your decision. Don't do what I did, because this one is magnificent. I love it, and this one not so much. I'm gonna paint this now and see if that makes me like it anymore. I did paint to begin with, so I paint the panels before I put them on the wall, and I would have inserted clips or something of what I did, but where I've like corks and everything, it just needs a touch up, and I sanded down the sides. So I'll do that now, and then hopefully it will somewhat bring it to life, and then I'll order some pictures, and maybe I'll see you in a year's time and I'll update you that it's all come down again. But yeah, I'll update you once it's all done. And here we have it. Here is the final look of the paneling. I really like how it's all come together now. Let me know in the comments what you think. As always, like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I can't wait to catch up with you in the next episode. Until then, bye.